What's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're talking about Netflix's newest superhero film, it's Project Power. Starring Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the best way that I can describe this is the concept is like the movie Limitless, but instead of a pill that grants you temporary intelligence, Project Power is about a pill that grants you temporary superpowers, and the plot is somewhat akin to Liam Neeson's Taken, where a father's going all out to save his daughter who was taken a while back. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a cop that sort of goes rogue because he takes the pills, which is highly frowned upon and even illegal, but it does get the job done. Personally, I wasn't so sure if I'd like this movie because it's a Netflix original, and more often than not, those films are decent at best, but never really extraordinary. But at the same time, I like superhero movies, so it's a bit of a catch-22. Anyways, let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, Catch-22, a problematic situation for which the only solution is denied by a circumstance inherent in the problem or by a rule. Project Power is definitely interesting because, to be honest, I love the concept. It takes a much more grounded approach to superpowers than, the typical comic book adaptation that we're accustomed to. When I grew up, I was constantly trying to come up with a superhero story of my own that was original, and it's not easy. One of my ideas came down to a superhero that wakes up with a new superpower every day. And while this isn't that, these pills kind of create a different superpower depending on who takes them, so the possibilities are still somewhat endless. I definitely dig the concept. I'm also a big fan of the various moments in the film where somebody takes a pill and they go through this physical transformation where you have absolutely no idea what's going to happen next. Are they going to get a cool new superpower? Are they just going to blow up? You don't know. So that's always keeping things afloat, and the visuals behind all these sequences are all pretty snazzy. I also really dug some of the editing here, which had the film flowing together in a pretty interesting way, at least if you're paying attention to that kind of thing. There's really just one problem in this film, and I think it creates a bit of a snowball effect, and that's the time limit on the superpower. It's too short. When these people take the pill, they have 5 minutes of playtime before they revert back to normal, and you can't have a substantial superhero flick with that kind of limitation. That's kind of like playing Mario Kart and getting your little booster that works for 5 seconds. It's nice while it lasts, but then you just kind of have to fill in the rest with just normal driving. And after the 5 minutes of powers happens in the movie, you kind of have to fill the rest of that with story. And the story that they chose for this film was kind of lackluster. It's the whole Taken thing, like I said before, which Taken didn't create. It's just the most known for at this point in time. They've done the same exact thing in a million of movies before and after Taken, and it's just old. It's an old concept, and the only way that you can make an old concept feel newer is to approach it differently, and Powers may have worked if it was more than 5 minutes. I can't even tell you how many times I checked the clock while I watched this movie. This film isn't even 2 hours long, and my god, it feels like the longest 2 hours of my life. I wouldn't say the entire thing is boring per se, but there's more scenes in the movie than not where I didn't care about anything that was happening or who it was happening to. It had some nice visuals, it had some good action when they went with action scenes, and some tight rapping skills, but I just found a majority of it to feel like it was missing something vital. Maybe that's just me though. Let's go ahead and talk about my final score for a second. This is the kind of movie that my biased and unbiased scores mostly agree with one another, in that when we're honest, it's fine. It took a lot of safe decisions, but it was also decent in some areas behind the scenes as well, like visuals and editing. That unbiased score is 70%. My biased score is slightly higher at 72% because in general I do like the concept. I love the concept actually. It's just not any higher than that because I didn't care so much about the story and thought the time restraint for the actual powers needed more time. Averaging out the two scores together, we come to a final score of 71%, 71 out of 100 possible stars, granting Project Power with a letter grade of C-. Not terrible, not great either, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on this movie in the comments down below. What did you think about it as a superhero fan? And if you hate superhero movies normally, what did you think about this one? And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this review, because there's always more like it coming out each and every single day. Hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review, which should be Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I'm starting a new marathon looking at that trilogy, so that should be fun. And until then, guys, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie pick. Thanks for joining up with us. We think you're pretty